Okay, we're live.
All right.
Let we'll let some people wake up with us. I'm in Minnesota. It's 7:44 in Minnesota. John Tester's in Montana, where it's 6:44.
It's a
Burning
beautiful thing.
daylight.
Yeah.
Have you been out
First,
on the farm already? You've been out in the field?
just checking some aerators and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's good. I supposed to get up to nearly 100 today in Montana, which is very, very, very good news, by the way.
That's good news for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not great news for fires, maybe, but we'll
Dry
we'll
dry some shit out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we want to say welcome to Grounded with John Tester and Maritza Giorgio. We have a really big show for you today. We have someone who I find incredibly intellectually intimidating. like like a lot. Okay.
Now you know how I feel with all of our guests. Okay.
Well, I mean, all of our guests, but this guy, like, if I could even form sentences that are coherent, I will be happy. I'm going to do my best to not sound nervous here, but we have New York Times columnist and three-time Pulitzer Prize winner Tom Friedman coming on our show later today. And I will say, John Tester will be so excited about this. He's not only from Minnesota, but he graduated from the same high school that I graduated from. So we're going to have a little bit of a love fest. Sorry.
That's okay. And it's all right. So he's the second smartest dude to ever graduate from your high
Oh,
school.
I think he's at the top of the list. But we have
Right.
we'll talk about it. We had the
Where do you where
Cohen
do you
brothers.
where do you fall in that? But
I'm at the bottom. I'm at
no,
the
no,
way
come on.
bottom.
Don't give me
Yeah.
that.
I'm at the way. I mean, we had the
So can you
Cohen
tell me
brothers. The
how many
Cohen
kids?
brothers who did Fargo graduated from my high school.
Wow, how many kids graduate in your graduating class?
Oh gosh, maybe 250, 300.
Well, that's
Wasn't too bad.
half the population of Big Sandy, Montana, right there. So
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, so we are going to get to that conversation with Tom a little bit later this morning, but we wanted to hop on here and do some of our headlines with you over some coffee before we bring him in. So let's start with it, right? President Trump says he's going to set up a trilateral meeting with Russia, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And Zelensky, of course, and several other European leaders were at the White House yesterday. They met there, and this was a few days after the U.S. literally rolled out red carpet for Putin. That was before a meeting in Alaska. The tone of yesterday's meeting was a big departure from the last time we saw Zelensky in the Oval Office. That's when we saw the president and vice president berate Zelensky. Now, several European leaders who were in this meeting yesterday said there was real progress and they said there was a sense of unity. Trump has ruled out allowing Ukraine to join NATO, but said he could promise security guarantees from the US. There are also unresolved issues here about territory, and if Ukraine is expected to give up land to Russia, which says absolutely will not. So let's break it down. My big question is, why would anybody trust us if we just say, "Oh, we'll promise you this security," when we have gone back on some of our promises this year?
well, I think that's a fair point. I want to back up a little bit. I appreciate the president bringing everybody together, and I appreciate the European leaders coming with Zelensky because I think that was very smart. So we didn't have the potential of a replay of what happened back in February, which was incredibly repulsive. But that aside, I think getting people together and talking about how to move forward is important. But I want to be clear: um, Ukraine didn't do anything wrong here. Russia invaded a sovereign country because they could. And Putin knows that the longer he can delay, and by the way, he just got another delay on the tariffs. Congress hasn't enacted even more harsh security sanctions on Russia. So he just wants to delay because he knows time's on his side. He knows that it's a much bigger country than Ukraine and he can outlast them. And I think we are aiding and abetting in that delay until the president understands that Vladimir Putin is nothing more than a killing dictator that wants nothing more than reunite the USSR back to its old form. And Lavrov was wearing a USSR shirt at the
Right.
at the at the negotiations. Let's just be honest. This is part of his plan to reunite the USSR. And quite honestly, at some point in time, you have to hold him accountable, and you don't hold him accountable by bringing him back into the West. Russia's economy was in trouble. What he got out of that meeting in Alaska, Putin, I'm talking about, was very important for Russia. And I'm sure his popularity numbers went up because of that. But in the end, he invaded a sovereign country because he could, just like he could invade any other sovereign country because he has nuclear weapons. So this clown needs to be held accountable, and we should not be aiding him in his ability to take over another country that wants to be democratic, by the way, that wants to be like the West, wants to have democracy, wants to have freedom, wants people to have their own choice and not have the government tell them what to do and when to do it.
We'll see what comes next. The president is saying, President Trump, I should say, is saying that he thinks we will know within a week or two, but he also said he could solve this in one day. So we'll see. We'll
Well,
see what.
solve it in a day, but don't give all the territory back to Russia because they acted inappropriately. So solve it, get it done. I mean, I think everybody wants to see the war end, including Zelensky.
Right.
I'm not sure Putin does, though. He knows that if they keep fighting, it just continues to weaken Ukraine, especially with Ukraine's arms tied behind their back, as we've done to them.
Okay. So, meanwhile, this came up in the meetings with Zelensky. It also apparently came up in the meetings with Putin. Trump announced plans to sign another executive order, this time to stop mail in ballots and end the use of voting machines before the midterms next year. So, apparently, like I said, this was brought up in that meeting with Putin. Trump is saying that mail in voting is a hoax. I mean, it happens. It's not a hoax. This is something that happens that we do. I'll just say that. We can talk about all the Republicans who have also won in mail-in elections. I could point to the state of Montana in 2020, where pretty much Republicans won by 10 points in every statewide race except for one, and that was like 9.6% or something. But here's the other thing: Trump voted by mail in past elections, and the real big one is that executive orders don't govern elections. That power belongs to the states. Congress can make rules around federal elections. The president cannot. He can pull some levers with like funding and federal funding, but go for it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, I can't tell you the last time I voted in person. It was over 20 years ago. We've used mail-in ballots in rural America. It's really important because it's quite a jaunt to get to your polling locations, oftentimes. And then it's November. You don't know what you're doing. And this takes a lot of pressure off. You can vote. You can sit at your kitchen table and visit about it with your significant other if you want. Talk about all sorts of things that are on the ballot, initiatives and other things, as well as the candidates. And so I think this is a little crazy. As far as the voting machines, look, if we want to have paper ballots on everything, that's fine. You just got to figure out how to count them. I was a voting judge, oh shit, 40 some years ago
Oh, I
at
didn't
our,
know that.
yeah, at our polling place. And so there wasn't many people that voted, probably a few hundred at most. And counting the ballots, they were all counted paper ballots, which was cool. There can be mistakes made there though too, but there were several people doing the same thing, so it minimizes that. But it took some time. I mean, I don't polls closed at 8. I don't think we got out between, I think it was 10 or 11. And we had, like I said, a couple hundred ballots probably, as I recall. And so it takes time. So how are you going to count them? How are you going to do it? But if you want to get rid of voting machines, figure out how you're going to count them. I'm all about it, but make sure there's checks and balances to make sure people aren't cheating.
Yeah, and we should mention the mail-in ballot thing. I mean, it was a huge percentage of the
Yeah.
population that voted mail-in during COVID, and that was part of that whole story that I did that you were involved with, Senator, with the blue collection
Yep.
boxes, as the USPS boxes being
Yep.
removed before that election, and why it was an issue because of so many mail-in ballots. So
Yep.
we'll see
So,
what happens.
so I think it would be a mistake to get rid of mail-in ballots. But I'll tell you also from a pure political standpoint, you get rid of mail-in ballots, I think it helps Democrats. That's a
Oh,
fact. The election in 2020 in Montana showed the less people that vote, the better it is for Democrats. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. In rural America is where a lot of these ballots are used, and rural America is pretty deep red right now. And I think it'll change, but right now it's pretty deep red. So he may, in fact, be shooting himself in the foot.
okay. So I'm in a text chain with several TV producers, and we are all shocked that the story that we're going to talk about now isn't getting more national play yet. So, a Democratic Texas state representative, her name is Nicole Collier, she spent the night on the state house floor because she was locked in there. Let me back up. House Democrats returned to the Capitol in Texas yesterday. This is after they left the state to try to block a vote on the Republican redistricting plan, right? They left, they went to states like New York and Illinois. We've talked about that. So when they came back yesterday, back home, back to Texas, back to the Capitol, House Speaker Dustin Burrows put some new rules in place around them. He said they could only leave the floor with written permission and they had to agree to be escorted by law enforcement until Wednesday for 2 days when they reconvene. So if they left the House floor, they had to be escorted out in their private world by law enforcement. Most Democrats actually said, okay, but Collier said no. She refused to accept the terms, so they locked her inside. Here's what she said. My constituents sent me to Austin to protect their voices and rights. I refuse to sign away my dignity as a duly elected representative just so Republicans can control my movements and monitor me with police escorts. Wow.
So I may have a different perspective than you do on this. I don't
All right,
know.
let's hear
I
it.
guess the first thing that came to mind is, in the on the floor of the United States Senate or House, on the floor, if you get locked in, you know, uh, and you're truly locked in the chamber, how do you go to the bathroom? But that aside,
Well,
we'll leave that.
she can leave, she can like go to her office with an escort, apparently. Like there's somebody
But you
there. But
said
go ahead.
they locked her in the chamber. That tends to be somewhat.
Yeah, they locked her in, but then they said that she can
Did
go back and
she?
forth to her office. Yeah.
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 But I mean, this was look. The people of Texas elected a majority of Republicans in the Congress, and they can set the rules. And if they usually rules can be set by a simple majority, at least that's the way it was in Montana. And so consequently, you live with those rules. Those are the way it is. And if you want to change that, change the election. Get out there and get some people elected that come from purple or even red regions. Get good candidates and have them work hard, and things will happen. But I think the more important part here is that they have one of the reasons they have a majority is because they've gerrymandered the districts and they want to do more gerrymandering of the districts. And it's really, really time for Congress to step up and say, whoa, and put some common sense on this because it's not good for democracy.
Okay, I have a really quick question though. Are there no bathrooms like in the cloakrooms on the
Yeah,
Senate floor?
there are off the cloakroom, but I said you didn't say she was locked into the cloakrooms and the floor. She was locked on the Senate floor or the House floor, whichever floor it was. And there are no bathrooms on the floor.
On
Okay.
the floor. Right. You have to go into the cloakroom.
That's
I was
right.
in
So
there once.
I'm taking you literally for what you say, as most people did when you were a journalist. Okay.
Oh, he's feisty today,
There was
folks.
there
Okay.
was no there was no fake news with Maritza Giorgio. I'll just tell you that.
Even though my son loves to call me fake news Giorgio, that's his nickname for me, just to jab me.
Wow.
Uh, I know he's brutal. We are going to hop off right now. We are going to go record our conversation with Tom Friedman. We will release that later today, but we want to wish you a happy, what is it, Tuesday? Happy Tuesday?
It's like the
Uh,
19th.
it's
It's
the
like the
19th.
19th. By the
Did
way,
you?
did you get a lead on this Draper header that I was looking for? I mean, did
I
you find
was
one?
just about to ask you about that. Some people expressed interest in helping you, and they were going to call some farmer friends and see what they could find.
Yeah, well,
So,
this combine is like a 2006, I think. So, somebody asked about what year it is. I just need to have it in really good shape and fit a 2588. It doesn't really matter how old it is. As long as it's in good shape, it can be fixed.
remind us the size of it.
36 foot. Yeah.
36-foot Draper
Yeah.
header
Yeah.
for
Case
a.
IH makes them. McDonald makes them. I think they're the same damn header, actually, but we'll go from there. Yeah.
Okay,
The
if you have
problem is
any.
if you find one, it's in like Missouri or some damn place, and you can only tow them at like 35, 40 miles an hour. So
Well, I'll go.
well,
I'll fly down to Missouri. I'll drive it back for you.
you'll drive it back at 40 miles an hour. That'd be great.
What else do I have to do?
No, exactly. All right.
All right, let's talk to you guys
Yeah.
soon.
Bye bye.